We have to respect the sacredness of the African woman's vagina. I'm talking to my unapologetically African anti-snow bunny males right now. The reason I'm going through what I'm going through 14 years ago and 24 years ago, I didn't have the level of respect for the black woman's vagina that I have now. This is karma. Even though I was done wrong, I could have never been done wrong if I didn't do wrong. So you must respect the sacredness of your Shango stick. I believe the universe brought me my children before I blew up for two reasons. I needed to learn the lesson of respect for the black woman's vagina before I became King Kong. Because if I would have made those mistakes in front of the world, I would have had to vacate my throne. And so I've learned my lesson now.
Okay, Dr. Umar.
Oh, really? He's learned his lesson?
He learned his lesson, but should black men respect black women's vagina more?
I don't buy his situation. So absolutely, like, men should respect, black woman vagina, but I don't buy, like, so everything that I preach to men, when I talk to men, when I talk to people, I'm telling them about my experience. So I'm telling them about my situation with my baby moms or everything that I went through in life. It's just crazy how you can be talking to us for 20 years and all of a sudden it's like, yo, I just learned, from my baby mama situation. Your daughter's like 25 now. So it's like, how did none of this came out? Like, you never wanted to share with us your experience. So many young men you never told that to. I never heard him talk about that before. So I don't know. I don't buy it.
Yeah, he's full of it, in my opinion, when it comes to his kids. Like, he obviously just has not had contact, has not been in their lives. I don't think he's tried as much as he gets on these other men about doing that. So I think he's just like trying to save himself with all these little messages he's doing. And yes, black men should respect black men should respect black women. Let's stop sexualizing women like they're only their vaginas. Like, black men should have more honor for black women in general. It's not all about their box. It's not all about that. You should respect women, and that would help you in your life if you just respect women more. Even if they're not respecting themselves. If they're not respecting themselves, don't deal with them. Don't use them as HOEs just to get your rocks off and still talk about them when you put the thing in them. Just respect them and move on if they're not respecting themselves, in your opinion. But yes, black people will win. Black community will win if black men respected black women more, not just their vagina.
Why would I respect something?
Yeah.
Why would I respect something?
Oh, sorry. But why is that the man's responsibility if these women nowadays don't even respect themselves? Right? So why is that on the accountability of men if women are giving their pom-poms away to these men easily? Isn't that the ownership of the woman to respect herself so she doesn't lead into this type of situation?
It definitely is. And I think that saying that is taking the responsibility off of us as women, knowing that, that is our job is to protect ourselves and our body and who we give access to. But I also think this mindset should happen like pre-baby. Like, you don't have to have a child out of wedlock multiple times for you to understand that you need to value a woman and her body. So I just think in general, the message should be that women should respect their body so that the men will respect us more. But also, in saying that, I don't think that you need to have children out of wedlock to use that as your why you didn't need to do it.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with Trigger, because I think men should not take advantage of hoes and things like that. I get why they do, but I think they shouldn't. And the reason why I think they shouldn't is because I think a curse will come on their children. So I think, women should hold themselves to a high standard. But if a man sees a woman that is not, I do think they shouldn't take advantage, because then they may end up having a whole daughter, or the daughter gets treated really bad or something like that.
He's not taking advantage. He's not taking advantage. You gave it to me.
Yeah, it's
How am I
access.
taking? How are you taking it? If you give it to me, I'm taking
But
advantage.
you
And that's the
think
thing,
that
right?
she's
I
disrespecting
guess
No,
herself,
no.
and you're not
No,
valuing her. You
no,
just use her.
it's fine, Trigger. I will date you. Don't worry.
No,
After
that's
the show,
that's a good point,
I
Shaggy.
will talk with you after the show, Trigger. We're going to date. Don't worry about it, right? But the thing is, imagine that you give me a ride, and I look inside of your car, and I'm like, everything is dirty. There's McDonald's fries on the floor. You spit on the ground and all that shit. And then I leave a fry in the man. How dare you treat my car like that? No, you telling me how you treat your car, so I'm going to treat him the same. If you treat your pussy like a motherfucking trash bin, that's what you're going to be treated like. As a trash bin, you're going to be a cum bucket because that's how you actually making yourself uh putting yourself out there. How is that not
No,
fair?
I know. I get why people do it. I'm just saying I think it's wrong. I think the man would be wrong. And I think, I think the woman is being wrong for treating her body like a trash can. But I also think the man who may recognize that this woman is broken, I think that person is taking advantage of a broken person. If
But how is
that's
she?
my
But
opinion.
how is she broken? If I have my wallet open and every time I wake up, I send y'all cash apps and I say Grand Rising Queen, right? Hey, take that money. It's my responsibility. If I didn't want to send you money, I didn't. But there's nothing wrong with Kelly get my money because I'm a trick. You have to.
No,
You
that's
are
the
going to be.
wrong analogy. The analogy is you just leave your wallet open, right? And just because you
No.
leave it
I send
open
it to you.
doesn't make it
I
right
send
to
it to
take the
you.
money.
No.
It
I
doesn't
send
make it
cash.
right to take the money just because you leave your wallet. Now you're dumb for leaving it
No.
open,
No
but it
trigger.
doesn't make you not a thief for taking the money.
No, that's not the
right?
trigger. That was not the point.
So it's
Nobody's
the
taking
same
advantage of.
analogy.
Nobody's
If
taking
this person is
advantage of me.
offering this to you,
No
but you
trigger.
see that you don't even value this because you would say that
Trigger.
this person
That's
you
not
would
what I
never
said.
date this person or make them your wife, but you want to have sex with them.
Trigger.
But
That's
you
not
see
what
that
I
that is
said.
a broken person.
Wait, Trigger,
You
that's
are
not what
taking
he said
advantage,
though.
even though they're giving
It's
it
not
to you. That
advantage.
doesn't make
Why
you
is she broken? No. Why is she
No,
broken?
let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah. Why am I broken? If I'm sending $25 to you because I'm into blondes and that's what I like, and I send Grand Rising Queen message in the morning, you're not taking advantage of me. I want whatever you have going on, so I'm sending you money. You are not taking advantage of me. So if you give me
That's
that
not what I
pussy,
said.
so if
You're
you give me
gaslighting.
that pussy, you're going to get back shots, a glass of water, and you go down
I
to the
said if
streets
you
again
leave
because I
your
don't want
wallet
you.
open on the counter, I didn't say you let them. You tell them to take it,
Are
but you
all
just
hoes
leave
broken?
it open. It doesn't make them right to take the money just because you
but
left it
Brittany,
on the counter.
and Trigger, but a woman opening her legs and giving access to a man, he's not taking it without her consent. She's
And
giving
Q.
him access, giving him consent. That's the woman's fault.
Right, but he's looking at her, he's devaluing her. So
It
why
is.
even put your
No,
thing in something that
It
you devalue?
is the woman's
She
fault.
devalued
It is the
herself,
woman's
though.
fault. It is the woman's fault. But I
It's the woman's
do
fault.
think some men
It's
can
a man's
recognize
fault too. That's what
when
I'm
a
saying.
woman is
It's
broken.
her fault, but it's his fault too. He cannot take no accountability.
Are all hoes broken
So now
men?
it's wrong if a woman.
Because
So if a woman
really,
gives
you are just as
consent now.
bad as her, if not worse. You're just saying that society said that you can do that. She can't, but you can. But she's that disgusting thing because she's doing what you do. But just because she's a woman, she's nasty.
But
You're
you
not.
saying just because
That's
he's a
BS.
man, he got to
That's
take
BS.
responsibility.
Go ahead, Mon. Go ahead. Mon's next. Go ahead.
You're saying just because he's a man that he has to take responsibility, but now you're saying that he can't hold a woman to a different standard, but you're holding him to a male standard.
Women and men are not the same sexually. We don't operate like men. So it's not the same, Trigger. we can't.
And also women wear brokenness very well. Women can show a facade and you will never know how broken they really are until you actually put that inside of them, and then that's whenever they start really showing the real selves. But I definitely do agree, yes, Black women should be valued more and honored more than what we have been, but I feel like he's just full of it. Like, I honestly, like, how do you literally a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever it is, come back and say, oh yeah, you weren't honoring, like I think it was Mott was saying, this whole time, all of these years, you literally had this epiphany and want to say, yes, I wasn't doing right, and yeah, it's my fault, this is my karma. You're right, and you're not done with your karma, because where's the apology? Where's the actual shame in what you actually did? Because you're the one that's in the forefront. You're the one that's telling all of these young men what to do and what not to do. Stay with the woman, don't stay with the woman, make sure you treasure her, but you're really not doing that on your end. Where's the apology? You were just talking crap about your daughter.
The value of hold on. I mean, listen, I don't pay attention to Dr. Umar as a serious thing because he's just trying to save his main customer base that
How dare
contributes.
you, Anton?
That
That's the
contributes
king of
into the PayPal.
Pan-Africanism.
So we know what that is. That's him because he made a mistake and crashed out and said, let's mobilize against women. And so he's trying to fix an issue that he caused for himself. So let's remove him out of the conversation. Let's just look at the context of it. The value of something is what you're willing to pay for it. That's how you determine the value of something. And usually you can increase the value of something by what? Scarcity. Scarcity creates an effect by which something becomes more valuable. The less cars that are available or the less that are, as far as a manufacturing run, the more valuable it becomes because it's scarce to find it, which means that it then, becomes it's a bidding process. The value of it goes up because people are trying to get the best one available. It's almost like let's equate women to cars and men to cars, or men to buyers of cars, right? The less mileage of a car, the more you're willing to pay for it, right? So you can't tell us to value something that everybody done had. You can't tell us to value something that you just readily give to everybody. You can't increase the value of your box if it had 7 different owners and it had a bunch of crashes in it. Now you talking about that it got different paint jobs on it. It got different rotors and brakes, and nothing on it is original anymore. You didn't customize the hell out of it, and then you beat the fuck out of it. Everybody didn't had it. Everybody didn't had they share of it. And you spawned a bunch of different children as a result of it. And you telling us that the value of you should just be valued more. Why? Because you said so? No, if you were more scarce, then this is the thing that I always tell people. It's so funny to me. Great women get chose. You don't see something that's awesome just sitting around. They get snatched up fast. The one thing about men is that we know what's going to be available next week and we know what's not going to be available next week. Is some women that we know we can call them anytime, and at any moment, whenever we having a rough night or if it's a rough week or we just striking out, you know what? But I can always call on her right there. I know she coming through no matter what. And there's other women that's just scarce. You can't get to her. And everybody wish that they had her, but everybody know that they're going to value her a little bit more because she carry herself with class and she ain't never been available for the streets. And the fact that nobody's had her makes her more valuable. So what I'm trying to tell you is that on an individual and collective basis as women, if you individually want to be valued by men, then you have to make yourself more valuable by being scarce, not available, and also a quality woman. It's not about us and the way we see you. You can't artificially inflate something that's easily available. It's always going to be another you coming down the street because you know different than the one that's giving herself up for everybody else. I know that as a man, if I want to be more valuable, then that means that I have to be more purposeful. I have to be well read. I have to be educated. I have to also be making legal money. I also have to be valuable for my daughter. I can't have a bunch of kids out of wedlock. I also have to be adding value in whatever it is that I do respectively to earn money. I'll have to be spiritual. I have to be all of these things. And you know what that does? It separates me from the rest of the men. It separates you, and so our value was determined by how much we contribute into the society and how we're seen amongst our peers. We rank ourselves, which ultimately makes us available for the women. And then that's why all of the women saying that they want all of the same men and they don't want all of these other guys that's just in their mama's basement playing video games. It's not that we can say, hey, you need to take that guy that play video games. You got preferences too. And so do we. So you need to read the room and then say, you know what do men want? What would make me a more, a person that men want to marry or that we pedestalize? Y'all teach us how to treat y'all. You teach us how to treat you individually. If you keep showing up with these motherfucking butterfly eyelashes and you're 150 pounds overweight every single time you show up and you ain't never got yourself together and your skin routine is trash and your breath is always stinking and anybody can fuck you, you're not going to be as valuable as the woman that has herself well put together and presents herself, and we can take her into the meeting with our bosses and we trying to level up and she's able to close a deal because her other wives want to be around her. But you keep running in the victim Olympics thinking that it's just a black woman thing or it's always racism. No, I guarantee you there are women that can control a room that look just like you, except for they're about 150 pounds less than you, and they look better than you, and they articulate themselves well, and they're well-read, and they know how to communicate, and they know how to play their role in their husband's lives. That's what makes a woman valuable. Don't tell us that we just need to respect you for the sake of respecting you when you come out of the house with a fucking bonnet on your head and these goddamn pajamas that you're going to get right back in the bed with, and your kids is bad as fuck. I wish these women would get themselves together because I would like to pedestalize y'all more, but every time I run into y'all, I got to give you $5 to feed your fucking ugly kids that got snot running down his nose. I hate the fact that y'all look raggedy. I hate the fact that y'all trying to look like everybody else. I hate the fact that y'all always got on somebody else's hair. I hate the fact that y'all look fucked up and all of y'all ain't got no rings on y'all finger, but y'all got 20 kids running behind y'all. That shit is trash. I just wish y'all would get y'all fucking lives together because y'all look like shit. Y'all talk like shit. Y'all all trying to impress each other. Y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about, and y'all telling men how they supposed to vote. Y'all have really reached the bottom, and I'm trying to figure out how low God got to take y'all before y'all realize, you know what, we got to collectively shut the fuck up and listen to somebody that know what they talking about.
I don't disagree with any of that. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Y'all all saw that lady that slept with 1,000 dudes in one day. That lady is a whore. That lady's broken, all of that. My thing is, I didn't like that she did that because that was gross. But I was like, yo, it's 1,000 dudes that waited to have sex with that lady for 1 minute. For me, I think they're all degenerates. Yes, she's a whore. Absolutely. But I'm just like, I don't understand why guys have to partake in the whoredom. That's all I'm saying. I wish they wouldn't. That's all I'm saying.
That's very different from the point. Those are the generous because they sound desperate. But the problem with consistency a lot of times, and that's for example what my future ex-wife Trigger did, is I saw her for multiple times saying that you shouldn't judge woman for the sex they have, and now all of a sudden she wants to judge men for the sex they have. You have to pick a side. You can't be telling us that we can shame women for being O's and tots.
No, Patty, where your consistency at? Patty, where your consistency at? That's what I'm saying. Where your consistency at? You said have the same energy. I'm saying you have the same energy.
Trigger, I'm consistent, and I'm your only supporter on this show. Actually, let me show you. I am supporting you. You will always have a supporter in this show, okay? Trigger, I'm with you. You will never going to be alone if you are with me. Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
That's crazy.
Just be consistent.
You what totally are we doing here? What are we even talking about?
Damn, everybody quiet now. That's crazy.
No, okay, so a man is not going to respect a woman that doesn't respect herself. I would
right. Let's do that. Yeah,
100% agree.
100% agree with Kelly and Q. Definitely, that hands down. That's really where it needs to have the work done at. It's really not so much about men having to going out of their way to respect women that don't respect themselves is crazy. Yes, women, we do need to step up and we do need to set better standards for ourselves compared to the standards that we hold for men. Because it's pretty crazy on the streets.
Does anybody disagree?
I just feel like everyone has right. Oh, sorry, Karen. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I just think it's confusing because it's like we obviously don't want to condone, the whole behavior and all these things, but then it's confusing because it's like, well, if the women are allowing consent, and then we're also saying, telling these men don't have sex with women that are consenting their bodies to you and giving you their bodies. I just think it's like a confusing, point to have, because it's like, so don't take choosing signals, don't have sex with the women that are offering you their bodies, have sex with them, where like That's inconsistency to me, because it's like there's no where for us to like really stand at this point. Like,
Well, Cameron, as a are you a Christian? I'm assuming you're a Christian from what you was talking about, right?
yeah, sure,
Cool.
yeah, I believe
Okay.
in God.
Do you believe that the men are the leaders, or that the men kind of like show women where to go, pretty much?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think that it is the position of I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a Christian, but I would like to think that it is the position of women who are Christian that men should be leading the community, that women should be following the men. So that I understand if it's coming from a religious perspective, I understand a woman saying like, yo, you a man, you shouldn't be, just because the woman is trying to give you pussy, you shouldn't be trying to take it. You should be telling her like, yo, no, you need to be doing this. I'm not a Christian, but that's what I would think that Christian people would believe.
So I think there's a difference in
What
the
is right?
leading that you're talking about too. So under the context, and I'm not like a super well versed Christian. I'm very much learning every day. But I'm under the impression that leadership is under the confines of a marriage, not under the situation that we're given the example of, just sex out. You're just having sex with a random person, which is what we
That's
were
right.
talking about. So in
Okay.
that regard, there's nothing that he can lead her to do, because he's not over her. That's not the
Yeah.
person that he's in charge of as far as that's concerned. Like that
Okay.
that's not the leadership. I would say that he's not over her like that.